Glenn, and we are ready with our first of 2 races for the weekend for the Saleen Cup, a spec series, if you will. All cars built to the same spec, but I'll tell you what a performance level of car this spec series is. I think we're in for a treat. I'm Greg Creamer, along with Rick Titus. And Rick, we saw a little dabbling of what the potential was for this car, this field, at Portland International Raceway. This weekend, a sizable entry has shown up, and as you can take a look, these cars are serious. They look beautiful, but the thing is, they go as fast as they look. You take a look at the qualifying times that were laid down. We're talking some pretty serious speed.
Really are, and these cars are, yeah, like you said, a spec car. They're all the same, 2,200 pounds, 450 horsepower, and if you know any of Saleen's work, the stuff is always gorgeous, and he's gone with a really interesting graphics package. This is a rent-a-ride deal, but you win this championship, you're a factory driver next year in GT4, so pretty good gig overall.
And we take a look at the qualifying time. On pole for this first race is Brandon Davis, who, of course, is a former Pirelli World Challenge GT champion, a very talented driver, and he extracted a lot out of this car. He got down to within a couple of tenths of GT4 pole time here at a 154.7. Gives you an idea of the performance of these cars.
Yep, they are fast, and a version of these very cars, will not only be built for the street, but they'll also be built for GT4 for next year. It's so funny, Greg. You look in the eyes of some of these kids, and it's almost scary because they look like hungry tigers. You know, they're good to go.
Well, they sense an opportunity here as you take a look at the starting lineup. Davis and Fartuk in the front row. Then you take a look, Cameron Lawrence and Mark Pombo, and if that name sounds familiar, well, there's a reason. He is from a legendary racing family, the Pombo family. Bryce Miller and Johann Schwartz, who is the current point leader and has himself a pole today that he garnered in the touring car category. Then Hannah Zellers and Austin Riley putting together a good run there as well to fill out roll 4. Then Eric Powell, Paul Terry, and Quan, and the rest of the field is entered. Now, you said that there were a couple of cars that may not be able to take the start.
Yeah, we believe that Molly Saleen will not be starting. They're going to make some engine changes on hers. And Hannah Zellers, who's also racing here in another class this weekend, and for some reason they've pulled that car for some kind of mechanical. So we'll have to see. I admire the fact that, you know, you got your fast guys, they come out of the chute, they're good to go.
Right.
But we got new people here. These cars are quick, and of course they're being careful, and I think we appreciate that.
Well, it's always better to baby step it if you're not exactly
ain't it the
sure.
truth?
And you know what? In a way, that's the same thing with what's unfolding with the Saleen Cup and this remarkable car. It's in its infancy. And I think it's important to point that out. We expect to see the odd mechanical thing or whatever.
Right.
I give a lot of credit and lots of kudos to Steve Saleen and the group for doing a lot of their testing in a very public eye.
Good point.
But letting the other people see the potential of these cars, the beauty of these cars, I think is a very special indeed. And you know, they're doing it in public, but it's still early, and we're going to see the little teething issues. But there's no better. You can test and develop all you want, but the loads that put on a car in race trim
is so true.
Is very different, and this is the spot to do it.
This series didn't even exist in March, and in the race shop they have built these cars, and for the most part they go from race shop floor to transporter to here.
Yeah.
So this is race 2 for them. As you well know, we go into Road America together and then Las Vegas, where 2 champions will be decided, both the Pro-Am, a little bit more experienced cats, and the young guns working their ways up, you know, want the visibility.
And it's a great mix, and you know, for the young guns coming up, what a learning opportunity.
Totally.
You know, when you're sitting there and you're following around a Brandon Davis or a Johann Schwartz or the like, what a learning opportunity for you here. As you see the field behind the official safety vehicle, and that number 14 of Brandon Davis up there on pole. Let's talk real quick here. I think it's just a fabulous story about young Austin Riley. Tell that story.
Austin Riley is
incredible.
amazing. This is a young man with autism. I know there's many forms of it. My stepdaughter's a school teacher, deals with autism a lot. And this kid is in the number 12 car, what looks like the old gold leaf colors for Lotus back in the day. And I got to tell you, he is quick. He wins in Canada in the races he drives. He's a little quiet when he's focused, but we had a lot of fun with him on Friday talking about stuff. And he's a Corvette dreamer. He wants a Corvette, the new C8. Even though we're trying to talk him into a Saleen S1.
Well, and you know, as we go to green flag, you might well have an. Oh, we got one more parade.
No,
left.
I think
Sorry
we're going to do
about
two. Yep,
that. Two of them. Yep, makes sense.
Get some heat in these Continental tires.
Yep.
They are on slicks, sequential 6-speed, paddle shift 6 speeds, aluminum tub, carbon fiber bodied. They're very sophisticated cars.
Yeah. And what we saw, and what caught me out, that beautiful black, it was one of Saleen's special cars that was leading him around as well. So this would be the official and final pace lap.
Yep. And good chance for these kids to put some heat in the brakes. But yeah, like you said, those front guys, A, have experience, B, are quick, really quick. So like you said, good chance. Now we've got Aaron Cohen, who drives with GM. He's a driving instructor to work with the young guns. We've kept him busy, so he's talking to these kids. It's funny, the GLEN, which you and I and certainly Calvin would perceive as reasonably easy. It's fast, but it's not the most challenging track at most spots. It's got a couple. It's intimidating these kids, I think, because of the legend that it is and the speeds.
Well, it's a wicked quick track. And as you said, it may not be the most technically difficult to learn, but there's a lot of spots where you're going awfully quick between a narrow
yes.
set of guardrail, and that is intimidating.
And that has come up in the meetings, by the way. Yeah, they have talked about that. Wow, the S's are very intimidating because you're in top gear at that point.
Well, when you think about it, when you come out of the boot too, that run from the entrance through the boot and up that hill. I mean, that track, the track's the same width, but the guardrail closes in just a little bit.
It does.
And it takes a while when you're a young driver to learn. As I had a long discussion with Tommy Kendall once.
We love him.
About I asked him, I said, is there any place in North America on a track that truly scares you? And he went, oh, the old dip at Road Atlanta. And he told me that, and then the next time Trans Am went there, he won in the wet, and his qualified third in his 2 passes for the lead were in the dip.
Yep.
And I asked him, I said, how can you do that? You told me, he goes, if you don't compartmentalize, you're not successful.
You know what?
Sport.
Very good point.
You take fear and you just throw it over here.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah, if it's not clinically possible, it doesn't matter how brave you are.
Yes.
It's got to be, and he's real good at separating that. Calvin Fish, too, very good at separating what was scary as opposed to what's got to get done.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And we got some guys at the front that are good at that as well. For Saleen and I, the old yellow and white, the championship colors that we won in back in '87. Of course, I love seeing that car out there.
Oh, I bet.
And
that's the other neat thing about this is you can get these showcase graphic schemes if you want, the historic, or you can get the historic Saleen colors. And I love the option packages.
I do too. And so many people recognize, those of us been around a while, the Rothmans colors and the Sunoco colors and, Al Hobart. All right, here they're coming, bud.
All right, it is time to go for it. Safety vehicle is going to be heading in and leading them up to the green. Brandon Davis. Look at Fartuk looking real racy, rolling some good speed already around the outside.
Saleen's only comment was, bring the car back.
There you go.
Funny how owners are like that.
And we're green. Time to go racing here. Race 1 for the Saleen Cup. And right away, 3 abreast, 4 abreast, heading down into toe and a touch. See if everybody survived that. Oh, and a quick spin. That's the number 4 going around to Paul Terry.
Yep.
Paul, of course, a very quick driver in TC America touring car action, and gathers it up and gets going again. I don't think he didn't get contact. I think it just went around.
But I got to tell you, I know I'm working with a pro now because you knew the number and driver so fast. I was still looking on my sheet, and you're like, yeah, Rick, that's Paul Terry. And
that, of course, that little bit of contretemps has given Davis, Fartuk, and Lawrence a little bit of a break from the field as they work their way now through a very fast turn 5, the outer loop, and now down into the legendary boot. I love this section right here through the laces. And TV doesn't give you, oh, and there's the number 4 is pulled off, so he had some sort of an issue. It's a shame.
Boy, as you well know, in these spec cars, when everybody's got the same horsepower, same tires, same brakes as you, even that small gap of 8 car lengths, I know that Carter's going, oh, man, how am I going to make this up? It's not easy.
Well, it's not like, you've got a car that's got a lot more horses or whatever that can just make it up.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter when you talk about a single make type of racing series. it doesn't matter whether it's no horsepower or monster horsepower.
You're right.
The cars are the same. It still comes down to momentum and mid-corner speed.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Now look at Mr. Pombo. I mean, he's coming out of a, out of a Mini Cooper S in his other race, adapting to these cars already. He's third. I mean, that kid's fast too.
Oh yeah, no question. Your name's Pombo. You're pretty quick.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to be.
Yeah, or Thanksgiving dinners are real ugly.
Yeah, that's right. Boring. You hope.
But he does. Just a superb job. He has been. He's got a win in the TCA category this year in those minis. So
I'm not shocked.
He's a talent.
Yep.
And how about this? The run by Eric Powell. Eric started back in the 9th spot. With everything that unfolded around there, he's up into 4th and is putting on some laps. Now let's take a look and watch what happens here. You can see, and I don't think that red and white car recognized there was a car there.
There it is, yeah.
Just never saw it. And then that compression in the old Saleen color car got into the back of Terry, and I think it was that secondary touch. It may have broken that right rear corner.
Yeah, or
Terry.
at least at a time when you don't want to be touched at all, he got touched.
Exactly.
So not ideal. Boy, look at that gap is holding, Greg.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to close that. And both these guys are good. I mean, we'd like to say we're looking for a mistake. Unlikely amongst these front two.
Not going to see a lot of that, that's for sure.
No,
they've gapped now Pombo even more.
Yeah, they have.
So take a look at the
that's the rear deck.
rear deck coming off.
Yeah.
One of the machines here. And the guy that I think that was off of Riley's car. And there you can see there's the damage to the left front corner of the 19 of Cam Lawrence.
And the door.
Yep. And that was that contact. And that was the secondary contact with Terry, I think.
It's a shame because this kid, Cameron Lawrence, as you know, is very successful. I enjoyed talking to him a little while earlier. And, boy, he's got the tiger in the eye, too. Boy, he wants it.
Here's the number 2. And that's Bryce Miller. And Bryce is the one that
kind of got things going.
Yeah, kind of got things going. I just don't think he saw that other car coming up the inside when he shifted over.
Yeah, kind of like WWA there in the beginning. Not uncommon, and particularly amongst spec cars. I don't care how fast they are, like you said. When everybody's got the same thing, push is going to come to shove sometimes.
Yeah. So. And I'll tell you, the guy that surprised him down to the inside with that move and has now gapped him big time is Powell.
Yep.
Eric Powell, as I said, he came from 9th, and that green car made a huge move at the start. And, Eric Powell, we have watched him run and for a lot of years, and, particularly he's very involved with the in the touring car program in TCA. But we've watched him race, and he is superb. And we've always said he needs an opportunity to show what he can do with something bigger, faster, more powerful, and the like. And this might be it because he's got the skills.
Yeah, absolutely, and Saleen has taken a liking to him as well. So even if he doesn't win the championship this year, I would look for him to be back to take another shot at it because Steve really likes putting his arms around guys he thinks have big futures.
Well, and the thing that I like about Eric is when I've been, walking through when he was driving, particularly last year, he drove the full TCA season.
All right.
And I'd, make my paddock walk, want to go talk to the drivers. Didn't get a chance to chat with him much. For the simple reason that every time I wanted to talk to him, he was underneath one of his teammates' car, helping him find something, fix something, make it better.
He does have that kind of spirit.
He's hands-on, you betcha. Check in with Ryan Marine. What are you hearing?
Well, down here with Cameron Lawrence, who unfortunately is standing helmet in hand out of the race car and far too soon. What happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. We started third, and I just got hit from the back and from the side after that. So I don't know. It's, the first race, first lap, first race of the weekend, so maybe people are just a little antsy. But just trying to stay clean, and it's tough when you get hit from behind and from the side. So nothing we could really do. I feel bad for these Saleen guys in R3 Motorsports. They've done a great job getting all the cars ready. I was really excited to get out there and mix it up with all the S1s, but guys will get it fixed, and we'll be out here tomorrow and hope for a better result.
You have been on track for practice and qualifying. What is the S1 like to drive around a place like Watkins Glen?
It's a lot of fun. The engine and drivetrain in it is really strong, so especially at a horsepower track like Watkins Glen, it's really fast. So you get a lot of the load, a lot of the G's from the track, and it's been really fun to drive. With all the grip at this track, it handles really well. So I was really looking forward to this race. We had a really good qualifying. We'll be starting second tomorrow, first in class. So we'll hope for a better result tomorrow.
Sorry to see you out so soon. Better luck tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, to your point, Greg, he was giving driving instruction, showing from his camera in practice to Molly Saleen and a couple of other drivers, the young guns, that he was trying to help. So he is a jump in and make it happen guy.
Truly, there's no question about it. By the way, Eric Powell just set fast lap of this race at a 154.909, and gives you an idea of what Eric is. Everybody else in the low to mid 55s, up at the sharp end of the field here, and yeah, he's booking right now.
Well, like I said, I saw the blood in the corner of these kids' eyes. it had a whole shark look to it. You got to give Mark Pombo, who's never driven anything like this. See, he's on the edge. You can tell under braking. Turn one, he feels. I think his theory is if they paved it, I should probably use it because he seems to always be on the other side of the shark's teeth there.
Well, hey, obviously he has listened to Mario Andretti, because Mario Andretti once said, if you don't want me to drive on it, don't pave it. It's that simple. And that's kind of how it goes here. But look at Powell now. He has made up a deficit to Pombo of some 4 seconds. And that little wiggle by Pombo certainly isn't going to help.
No, those kind of mistakes will be exactly what Eric's looking for. You know, when I first saw this color car, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of Count's Customs. You know, it's a little flashy for me, but the more I see it out there, I mean, they all look great, but I'm starting to like that color more and more.
And that's one of the things, you know, again, getting back to the one make, as they call it, or spec nature of things.
Good.
When you're in that kind of a field and everything's equal, one thing that you could do, because you know, if you don't necessarily have the outright pace to just pull out and blow by somebody, is if you can hound them into those little mistakes.
Right.
And you know, sometimes that's the best thing you could do, is just get behind somebody and you don't make a mistake, force them into making one, and to see how it plays out. So,
well, for Eric, I think it is going to work out because, you know, Mark's trying so hard to learn these cars and drive quickly, and they're so far. I mean, he drives a Mini later today, Mini Cooper front-wheel drive car, and here he is with 450 horsepower rear drive car. The cars are very sophisticated. They all have radio communication to the pits. A lot of adjustments on the steering wheels, which would baffle the heck out of me. I would dial the car right out. It might start out good.
oh, now some traffic coming up from Pombo.
Yeah, this is interesting.
So, see if Powell's able to do anything with it. I think they're coming up on the back of the number 18. That's not traffic. They've run down Fartuk. This is for second place.
It is. Boy, Carter is falling back from Davis, I have to say. So now he's got his hands full at the other end.
Yes.
It's going to be hard. And I got to tell you, I'll bet Eric Powell's smiling right now, because this is what he needs.
Yep.
These guys get tied up with each other.
And the guy who's behind Powell, Bryce Miller, just took fast lap honors away at a 54.5.
Son of a gun, really?
So Bryce Miller now, after that little contact early with Powell, I think they both assessed that, okay, the cars are okay, let's push.
Boy,
yeah, there's Pombo.
There's Mark saying, well, I don't care what color they painted it, I'm using it. So, boy, these S's are fast. I watch these cars go through there, I'm like, wow. But good kids, and I think they're doing good. Look at this.
Swinging around the outside comes Pombo.
He's going to try it, and I think pull it off.
Yeah, he had enough of a run up the hill. He got just a little bit of a pull.
Yep.
And that's huge for him, because now Powell is going to have to tuck in behind Carter,
who may not make it as easy. That's going to be interesting. I wonder if Carter's got a car that's starting to lay down a little.
Ooh. I think I'm seeing a little something has come loose on the rear deck for Carter's car, and that could be affecting his aero.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah. He may have been assisted.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah, boy, Eric's on him now pretty hard. God, these kids are so good. And a little fearless.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, when you're young.
When you're young, yep.
And you're driving somebody else's car, why not?
All right, Powell thinking about it, but Carter carrying just enough speed down to the heel of the boot.
Keep that door shut.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. There's something flapping back there.
Like a rear clip's loosened up on the bodywork of some sort.
Yeah, that's not ideal. That could be a brake ducting, too. I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I see the whole back end like you're saying.
Yeah, and you can see underneath.
Yep. Things are moving.
And when it's bouncing like that, sometimes it just allows aero to spill.
Yeah, look at that diffuser and the whole rear balance. I don't know if that's even going to finish. Hey, you got to commend Carter for hanging on to that.
Oh, he's doing a brilliant job.
He is.
No, that thing must be a little tail happy.
Yeah, that's no favor. That is no favor going on there. Pal, I think Eric's thinking, boy, I really don't want to inherit that in the windshield.
Well, that's it. Yeah. My car's green and blue. I don't want silver at it.
Yeah, I don't need it. Yeah.
So,
boy, through the
now this is where Pombo was able to get a really good run on Carter.
Yep.
And make something happen. We'll see if Eric is able to. It looks like he got that same run right there.
Good time to point it out. You're right.
And he ducks to the inside this time. Now it's just a braking duel down into the bus stop or the inner loop, and he's through.
Yeah, and these cars have big brakes. But
And the drivers have big bravado.
Yes, yeah, there's no shortage of that. We've got several good women in the series as well.
Absolutely.
So I look forward tomorrow for the full field because two of them will be back. And we'll see what Martina's probably doing just fine. She's a very smart, mostly a Porsche racer. So the engine's somewhat close to where she's used to polar moment-wise. But poor Carter, I know this is killing him. You know, these kids are all so hungry.
Yep. Meanwhile, Brandon Davis now
has
stretched, because of everything going on behind him, he's stretched that margin up to about 5 seconds.
Wow.
However, now that, whoops, and a problem
and
here.
There goes Mark.
There's
Pombo.
Mark, yep.
And that was, I hate to say it, likely a mistake on his part. He's trying so hard to be fast on these cars.
Yeah.
And
well, and
I think we see the leave.
Yeah, I think he saw an opportunity here. Once he got cleared of Carter and Powell got trapped a little bit.
Good point.
I think Pombo thought, well, I don't have to worry behind me right now. Let's go see if we can get to that leader.
Yep, let's put the boogie on, see if we can catch up. Yeah. Boy, you talk about a brave. I bet this is the bravest guy in the whole field. That doesn't always make you a hero. Sometimes it makes you a zero, but I'm sure he's not a happy young man right now.
All right, watch on the left side of the screen here, folks. We're going to show you what we have of it. A little bit tough to pick up on, but watch for it.
There goes Davis.
Right there.
Ooh, that was a solid hit, actually.
Yeah. Boy, that's an unusual. I think, is that down? That's the toe of the boot.
Yeah.
And I think there's a certain point where if you miss your turn in going into the toe, and if you turn in right, you get this big compression. You get this great amount of grip, so you can carry a lot of speed because the grip will be there. But if you run wide of that, one, you're in the marbles, and two, you don't catch that angle of compression as the track comes back up at you.
Good point, to help enhance the traction. And several drivers said you could see that he races a Mini normally. These cars aren't as forgiving, you know, and a lot of people question his line by going, boy, I don't know, man. That might be a good line for a Mini, but for these cars, that might not be the way to go.
Well, and there's also the Mini's front drive, and so how you drive a corner, and you just point the front wheels where you want to go and give it throttle and the like. I mean, a good driver just adjusts, and I think that was just more a matter of he just probably missed his turn in just a little bit.
Yep.
And you're carrying a lot of speed there, and if you miss it, and you don't get that little extra bit of compression, you're just not going to stay.
And like you said, you don't have to be wrong by much.
Well, yeah.
Just a little tiny bit. Well, this will bunch of field up, which for you and I think those who are spectating and viewing, this will make a better race out of it. So,
I'll tell you, with the pace we've seen from Powell and Miller,
you're right.
Brandon Davis now, that 6-second margin.
They have to earn that now.
Yeah, this is going to get for real here.
Pretty fun to see the Al Holbert or colors, out there.
Absolutely.
His dad, Bob Holbert, you're probably not old enough to know, but his dad was a Porsche driver way back in the day when my father was racing, and he too was a heck of a driver.
Oh yeah.
So was Al.
Yep. That was a great era. Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. Al and
God, there were so many good drivers coming out of
and
that.
Derek Bell when they were teamed up together.
Man.
In IMSA GTP. I mean, that was
try beating them. Try beating those.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Not so easy to do.
Well, it took guys like the name of Jeff Brabham and the like to be able to give them a bit of a run here. So, all right, well, we have this safety car period. They're getting the car of Mark Pombo removed. Let's get back down to Ryan.
Thank you, Greg. We've got Eric Curran down here, who's done a lot of the development driving for these Saleen S1 cars, and we've been talking about some of the coaching that you've been doing as well with the younger drivers in this series. Is that something that you enjoy, the opportunity to work with young, aspiring race car drivers who'd like to follow in your footsteps?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a lot of fun, this whole Saleen Cup program. It's been a lot of work behind the scenes. We've been working on these cars for months and months, and it's fun for me because I get to drive them every week, not only here at the race weekends, but a lot of test and development, a lot of work getting these Saleen S1s up to speed and just getting them sorted. I mean, it's a brand new platform, clean sheet of paper, brand new car. I mean, this is the second round. We went to Portland. Now we've doubled the car count here this weekend at WATKINS GLEN. Yeah, of course, it's a lot of work just to sort these things out and really get them working. But you're seeing some results. They're showing really quick lap times equal to the GT4 cars, so that's great to see. But yeah, I mean, my role, a little bit different than just the normal race role that I usually play on a race weekend, is, you know, not only helping to sort and develop the cars as I did. I came here early this weekend, and literally I jump in and out of every car. Some of them were brand new, some of them I had run before, but just make sure that they're sorted, make sure that they work just as we've been working on, and making sure that the brakes and the steering and everything is perfect for the guys that are going to get in these. After that, then I go back and spend the rest of the weekend kind of looking at data, sitting with the drivers. Because I know these cars so well from a driver's perspective, I can tell them exactly how to drive them, how to maximize the speed from the car, and of course look at data, look at video. A number of the drivers here have not only have minimum experience, but have never been to WATKINS GLEN, so just stepping back and kind of helping with that coaching aspect of it. But you got, you know, Brandon and Lawrence and a few of these guys that are real quick and pros out there as well. So yeah, but I mean, it's been a lot of fun. It's a great program. Steve Saleen brought me in a number of months ago, and you know, there's some things that are happening not only on the Saleen race side, but also on my West Coast Exotic Cars side. We're going to become a Saleen dealer as well. So it's a nice little blend, working with Steve, working with this whole team. But you're going to see upwards of 20 cars here by the end of the year. So it's a great platform, 4-cylinder turbo, 2.2 liter, good power, well balanced, aluminum chassis. You know, paddle shifted. It's just a really cool package. It's fun to drive something that works so well.
And you mentioned this is the second weekend for the series. How much of a step forward has this car taken even since Portland? It is so young. I imagine the steps it takes are pretty significant from time to time.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, these guys, again, behind the scenes, all the Saleen guys just working like crazy. I mean, it's cool to go to the shop in Corona, California. It's just rows and rows of chassis and roll cages and all these cars getting built. But it's a lot of work. Like, if you consider building a car from scratch, the chassis, the roll cage, all the bodywork, the aerodynamics, the 2.2 liter 4-cylinder engine, the transmission paddle shifted. I mean, it's literally starting from scratch. So it's just a ton of progress to get this all together. I think what Steve and his group have been able to do in a short period of time is pretty amazing to see these things running around. But again, I think, you know, especially getting into 2020 when there's 20 plus cars of these things running around nose to tail, you know, it's going to be a really cool deal. And it's, you know, it's more of a spec series, but well, you know, but it's going to be impressive once we get it all going. And the best thing about that Steve likes is there's always a Saleen that's going to win.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Part.
Yes, that's right. Now, do you have a special message for Greg in the booth? I know you two go back a little ways.
We do go back. We go back 20 years now. When I won the runoffs in 1999, that's how far we go back. Greg's the best. How you doing up there in the booth, Greg? And I'll have to catch up with you this afternoon. But it's fun to see. Greg is the best guy at these. I mean, when I ran World Challenge for years back in the day, Greg was the guy doing it. When I was back in the runoffs in SCCA, Greg was there as well. So, hi, Greg. So good to catch up with you, and love working with you guys, and happy to help and give you any information I can.
Well, likewise, good to catch up with you as well. Great to see the momentum behind this program and a little synergy for your business as well. It's all great to hear.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Tell Eric a big hello for me. Absolutely. We go back a long time, and it's been fun watching his progress up to where he has, you know, become a prototype champion. That says an awful lot about his dedication and his craft. And along the way, he's amassed all the skills that he's putting to use now to develop these amazing S1 machines that are absolutely superb. And I think it's phenomenal because his West Coast exotic cars, I mean, if he's interested in having Saleen S1s be part of the exotic cars that they're dealing with, that says a lot right there about the program.
Well, I'll tell you, and as you already know this, he is one heck of a nice guy. Really enjoy being around him. Very professional. He gets that set of goggles on, and he's not kidding. This may be that 2-minute pit stop you talked about, Greg.
Yeah, there's was a planned a mandatory 2-minute stop, and I think when you have a caution, the general plan when there's a caution and that window opens up, what they'll do is they'll just bring everybody in, let them get that stop done, and get back out. So I think you're exactly right, Rick.
Well, you and I'd be in for fuel and tires.
Yes.
You get a window caution like this, now's the time. But, yeah, I think they just want to talk to these kids and make sure. Brandon Davis obviously very comfortable and at ease. But Eric has done a great job. And, for those of you who don't know who this guy is, this is GM's choice to drive endurance races in their Cadillacs. You don't get those kind of factory rides. Boy, if they could help out Carter here by getting that panel stabilized, which I don't know if duct tape can do it or race tape can do it, but sure it'd be neat to see it get stabilized so he could count on the aerodynamics of that car.
Yeah, and I just noticed on the right rear of that car, there was a little something that had come off, and it may be the stay that broke. And so let's take a look at what may have caused it. There you can see it.
Yep. Good catch, though, on your part.
Trying to...
You really are a professional at this stuff. Man, you see things.
Thank you. Well, I've had, and Eric, going back with him, I mean, A sedan was always one of my favorite classes in club racing, and this guy showed up in this ancient Camaro looking like, and I mean, they were always older cars back then, but this one, but every time he went out on the track, he was just wickedly quick, and I went, I'm going to start paying attention to this guy. Well, I'm glad I did.
Yes, and like you said, a good cat.
Yeah.
Your normal working partner, Calvin Fish, former teammate of mine, what a delight it was to race with him. Very fast, very smart, and he doesn't know how much information I stole from him because we were in the same car, but a lot.
A lot.
But anybody that fast, you want to pay attention to.
Yep.
What a delight to work with him.
Well, whenever people ask me, that really are younger maybe, that have an understanding of some racing history, but I know Cal was really good, but how good? And I went, let me put it to you this way. Twice in his young open-wheel career, he beat a guy named Senna.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that I need to say anything else about it. So,
and you and I both know Formula Atlantic back then was at the height of its competitive. We had Rosberg and Villeneuve. You had Ray Hall. You had fast cats coming out of those cars. Even Saleen was racing in those things back then.
Yeah, when he won that championship, it was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, no, he's for real.
Yep. Yeah, when he talks, I listen. There's no question about it.
Good guy. But you guys make a good team.
Well, we both love doing it, obviously, and we've also grown to be very good friends. And I think that's part of it. Is
kind of hard not to. Yeah.
We're just sitting on a sofa at home talking about racing, and we love that. We love that.
And I think it imparts information normally people wouldn't get. What? Awesome! We're getting paid for saying nice things.
Yeah.
And that's not like Calvin. He usually slides a check near you.
Oh, and he just took the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, so he rented good information. He didn't even buy it, Good stuff. Well, I'm hoping that helped out Carter. It's going to be good to see this tighten up, boy. Eric Powell right there. This is going to be Mr. Davis is going to have to be heads up now.
Yep, this is going to get. I'll be for real here.
Yep, and look who's in fourth. Look at that. Austin Riley is there fourth. Again, this is a young man with autism. You got to come down to the pits if you want to know more about how to get involved with this series, or see what the S1 street car is going to look like, or the Saleen Mustangs. Come on down to the paddock, and they've got, as somebody said, a village down there.
Oh, it's a fabulous display area.
It's a great display area.
It's like a showroom.
Yep, and come on down and learn about how to get involved with this series. It's a complete package. Includes the driving suits even. So good stuff, and it's going to be fun to see now that they're all bunched up what happens here. And look at old Smart and Steady. There she is. I knew Martina would not be kidding around.
Martina Kwan?
Yep, and she just does she's real calculating.
Yep.
Very reminiscent of Mark Donohue,
You said a lot, she drives a lot of Porsches. A lot of it's the Porsche's Owners Club, isn't it?
Yes.
And a lot of racing in the western United States, and this has to be pretty special for her to be over
I don't think she's been here before, and I know Eric's been working with her, but I was just so impressed at how she just click, just kept getting quicker. I'm not here to put anything in the fence, and I'm learning.
Yep.
And so this will be interesting. Don't look for her to do anything stupid. She won't do it.
And I understand she's actually related to a celebrity.
I'm listening.
Yeah, the actress Nancy Kwan. So
Seriously, I did not know that.
I wasn't aware of that either until I did some a little bit more looking.
Boy, you
through some
professionals
stuff.
really do the research. What a privilege for me to get to work with you, and
I'm enjoying it too.
But you've called a lot of different stuff. When we always thought you were our road racing guy, but I've seen you call motocross races, and if it's a race, you're willing to call it.
Well, as I've always said to people, when the green flag drops, I'm pretty much all in.
Yep.
And
Count on me. Huh?
And the first racing I ever announced was motorcycle.
Yeah.
The second racing I announced was snowmobile. Before I ever, I mean, cars is my passion, but so
I never even knew about the snowmobile stuff.
Yeah.
They look like they're anxious to go green.
Yes, this is it. We are ready to go here. Davis leading him away from Powell. Fartook, Riley, Kwan.
Yep.
And Miller at the back.
I could tell Riley was already in the throttle. He was like, let's go.
Oh, look at Powell.
Powell's going to be on him.
He timed it to perfection. He's close enough. He could get a little run.
I don't know if you can go around the outside of...
Watch him try and square up underneath.
Yeah. Brandon Davis on the outside. That's going to be trickier than it looks.
Yeah, Brandon doesn't, as you said, doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
Nope.
And there was nowhere for Powell to go. It's one of the things, the really good drivers, they know if somebody's going to try a move, they know it would be, well, if I was doing it, here's where I'd want to be, and they put their car.
This is what I would do to me.
Yes,
But that was pretty, those three guys charging up the S's.
Look at the draft that Fartook got
Yep.
behind both those cars when they were side by each for just a moment there.
Look at that. Now, see, getting that. Boy, I hope that thing stays glued together on the back. That would really be great. Look at Austin Riley's not going to let these guys just get gone on him.
Well, Bryce Miller just snuck through on Austin on that start. And we'll see if Bryce is able to catch up with this lead trio at this stage. And that's the thing with Fartook, with that damage on the back. You may want to not get up on the curbs too much, but on the other hand, he's saying, well, if I want to win this thing, I can't not get up on those curbs, because that's the fast line here.
And it's funny you mentioned that, Greg, because that's been a conversation amongst these guys, how hard to go onto these curbs. And as you can see, the fast guys are saying it's paved, and I don't care if it's painted.
Yeah,
I'm on
exactly right.
Now, look who's all over the back here. Mr. Miller is on the back now of Carter. So Carter's still got a little bit. Ooh, okay, we're looking now.
Yes.
Now we're looking for a way by.
Well, and you can see that
It's
Carter
come loose again.
he doesn't have the stick at the back.
Yep.
You can see that little rotation when he turned in.
Yep.
Everybody else, that car's a lot more planted. He's doing a brilliant job of hanging on.
He is,
but I think he
good
literally is hanging on.
Yeah. But now, if you're the fourth place car, you want by, because the front two guys are getting away.
Yep. Miller just set the fastest middle sector time on this lap. 39.3. He is flying right now.
Yeah, he wants it. Yeah. Yep. And I get it. I get it. These are all valuable points that count towards a championship, and he who wins this championship got a factory ride next year in GT4 in the same cars. Street cars are going to be very similar in weight, have the same exact horsepower, and a $100,000 base price. You can't make one for more than $140. To get this kind of performance for that kind of money is pretty amazing.
That's remarkable,
isn't it? Yeah. It's going to be a heck of a bargain. And the interiors are gorgeous in the street car, just gorgeous. They're a little bit more office built in this case.
Yes, it's purpose built here for sure.
Go with purpose built is dead right. Now, these cars are all wraps, by the way. They're not. These cars aren't painted.
It's all the wrap. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's funny how wrapping has just become the way to go, particularly in motorsport.
Yes. Well, I think because it's probably part of it is that in this era you tend to have sponsors rotate frequently, and it's a lot quicker to do a wrap.
A lot quicker
than do a.
I don't know about budget-wise. I don't know if wrap is less money or not.
Yeah, but it's probably just easier time-wise. Boy, this has got to be frustrating. Bryce, he knows he's fast.
Yes.
And Carter's just doing everything right here.
Kudos to Carter. He's doing a great job. God, I think.
Davis, problem.
Oh, my word.
Davis suddenly slows. That is your leader, folks.
Oh, that's a shame. I don't like to see that happen to anybody, unless they're in front of me.
Well,
then I'm delighted.
Fine with
it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
That is. He did a
had really been driving
job.
a nice race.
Yep.
Well, here we go.
And there we go.
So Powell leads it, and now Miller will slice through into second.
Yep.
Fartook drops to third at this stage.
Yeah. hang on to at least that. And there'll be champagne and trophies handed out afterwards for this one, as well as tomorrow.
And the nice thing is for Carter, he third overall, but he's leading the young gun category.
Good
so
point.
That's,
very good point.
There are 2 classes running here. And Austin Riley now picks up 4th spot.
I think Carter's slowing down too.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that whole thing's come loose. Look at the backside.
You can hear it.
That's just too much.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yep.
He's engaged to be married to a really nice young lady. They're getting married at Disney World.
Oh, fun.
Which they're pretty excited about. His fiancée is a school teacher.
Okay.
Could not be here this weekend. Will be at Road America. We'll make sure you meet her.
That'd be delightful.
Yeah, good gal.
Well, and again, we're seeing some of these late race issues, but this is again part of this beta testing, if you will, of this car, and it's one of those things. Once you find an issue with a car, and you fix it, now you can stress the car more. You find the next weak link
because it breaks it out. Yeah.
And you go through that whole chain, and you strengthen every link. That's when you've got that car completely sorted, and that's what I said. We're the infancy of this program. The potential is just off the hook, and just getting it dialed to that. And that's the kind of thing now when they'll bring it in, they'll look at it, they'll do a fix. Eric will take it out, pound it around, and go, yep, that solved that. We can move to the next thing, and pretty soon you've got a car that, as you said, will just run and run and run.
But see, look what they're doing. They immediately go to the computer, to the laptop. That's what's different from me.
Yeah.
I would communicate what it was doing, and guys would find wrenches and fix it. These guys go to the laptop right away, want to mess with the ECU. We've got another car slowing down.
Yeah, that's Bryce Miller, I think.
Yep, I think you're right.
And he was really setting some times.
He was scooting.
He was I wonder, he was the one that had that rear deck come off, the rear deck window. I wonder if that may have affected the cooling a little bit.
You know what? Good point.
That's a scenario.
But at this juncture, Austin Riley could win this at this rate.
Yep, absolutely.
We got 13 minutes to go here.
We've got Ryan down in the pit lane, I think, with an update on what happened with Brandon Davis.
Yeah, he's brought that car down to pit lane, guys, and it seems like it's something with the throttle sensor. It's all done electronically, of course, and they can't quite get it to work the way that it ought to. So at least in the case of Brandon Davis, it's electronics relating to the throttle sensor that appears to be the problem.
Now there's that electronics you were talking about, Rick. Yeah. Thanks, Ryan. And that's called fly-by-wire, as opposed to you don't have a cable actually connected. It's done with electronic signatures. And there's Carter bringing that car in. Again, that rear clip at the back, that thing was very much loosened up. So now it's Powell.
All on his own.
Just cycling around at this stage. And I'm trying to see now, the last lap for Miller, he slowed down. He was up over 2 minutes. We'll have to see whether it was something he could do a reset on and come back. No. I think he has now stopped. There he is. I was just noticing. I think he has stopped. And it's over.
I just wonder if the temperatures are getting high on these cars.
Well, and that's the thing. When you pop a piece of bodywork off these cars, there's all that ducting.
It changes everything.
It does. It does.
Well, it certainly looks good for Eric. It's not unearned. Because he really did set down some numbers getting here.
Well, he'd had a little issue in qualifying to get a time set. So Checker has come out. And officially, Eric Powell now will bring home the win.
Austin Riley, second place. Young man, nicely done, buddy.
That is solid. Very impressive as well. And look who's third.
Look at that. I'll just think my way to the front.
Absolutely. That's the way you have to deal with this stuff. And you figure out, and in a way, at this stage of this championship, and again, talking about the infancy of it, back in the day, in a race, you didn't drive a car 100%. You drove it 80%.
Yep.
And right now, what she did was apparently she looked at it and said, if I can just lap in this window here, the car will finish, and I might finish in a pretty solid position.
Podium spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good girl. And this is a young lady with not a lot of road racing experience in competition.
Yes.
Done a lot of Porsche stuff, but track days and things of that nature. So she's pretty new. So nicely done. Really thought her way through it.
Yep, just a great job. And for Eric Powell, again, as somebody who's known Eric a while and followed him in, while he's been driving the lower horsepower touring cars, just watching his skill set and knowing if he got an opportunity, what he could do with it, and he has just shown it here. Just a tremendous drive.
Well, you've been at this long enough, Greg, where you've been able to watch these skill sets improve. You know what to look for, and you see when somebody, oh, okay, they just learned something.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Good job. Again, wander on down to the paddock if you're here.
Absolutely.
Take a look at these cars up close and find out more about the series, and the street cars down there. The street version is down there as well. I thank you so much to both you and Calvin for having me here. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a pleasure, and look forward to being. That's the nice thing about these doubleheader weekends is you get to do it all again
I'm hoping so.
tomorrow as well. So
And
here's the results, provisional, of course, at this point, but. Yeah, that's a great story. I mean, Eric Powell, a guy who's getting the opportunity to prove what he can, what he can do. Austin Riley, a young man with autism, podiums with a great drive. Martina Kwan, just a very heady drive, as you said, and that ends up everybody on the podium. And of course, unfortunate for Brandon Davis, Pombo, Lawrence Terry, and Bryce Miller, who certainly had some really strong speed out there.
Yeah, there were guys that were at the front that deserved to be there. In any event, thank you. I don't think you'll miss your wallet that I got earlier for at least another hour, so I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I really
appreciate it. It's a pleasure, Rick. Thank you so much for coming up and helping us out.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. And there is Mr. Powell making his way down into pit lane, and I have a feeling that is Ryan Marine's camera that has found him down there. And as soon as Eric crawls out and gets that helmet off, he is, absolutely, and deserved. And deserved. Smart run. And quick as well.
Well, he proved he was willing to go quick.
Yes.
Do you think if I take that quarter, Calvin is going to follow me out of the building?
I have no doubt. No doubt.
Congratulations, this young man. He drove smart, he took advantage of what the car did well, and he's not afraid to go quick.
No. Not at all. Yeah, look at that smile.
Yep. And hair short enough that it stays neat. you got to like that.
He's walking around having a look at the car and getting the.
Well, he got rubbed on a little bit. You can see it right behind him.
Well, that was that first
start.
bit of contact with he and Bryce, if you recall. So.
Yep.
All right, and Ryan Marine is ready with our winner.
That was an emotional response there. Eric Powell picks up the win in race number 1 of the weekend here at Watkins Glen. What was that moment like when you saw the checkered flag come out?
Such an incredible feeling. My first ever race in a GT car. I think we put on a heck of a show. Huge thanks to Saleen, Steve Saleen, building an incredible car. And, he has an incredible team of people here working on these cars, maintaining these cars. It's so awesome to be a part of. Glad I got to drive this mean machine home. Green machine. Man, me and Brandon had a good battle, to be honest. I don't know if I could have got around him. Unfortunately, he had a mechanical, but he deserves to be up there.
What do you have to do to be able to repeat this performance again in race 2 tomorrow?
I think I just have to hit my marks. Hopefully, well, actually I start from the back again, so I'll have my work cut out for me there coming from the back again. But, all you can do is the same thing. Put your head down and start chipping away at it and pick off one car at a time, and hopefully the cards fall your way. That's all you can do.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, nice run. Proud of that young man for sure, and he certainly has earned it here. So it's Powell, Riley, and Kwan on the overall podium, and Powell, Kwan, and Miller would be first, second, third. They would be the Pro-Am podium, and young Austin Riley wins the Young Gun Award over Fartuk, who certainly had some good speed but had that issue with the back deck, and Cameron Lawrence. So that wraps up our coverage of the Saleen Cup first round of the weekend. We'll be back with more in the second round tomorrow.